Hello there guys, and welcome to this weekend's action of IFMC here at the Sakhir circuit in Bahrain. I am JWF1 and we kick things off with the first qualifying session for IFMC GP2 this season. If you didn't see what happened in the pre-season test over in Magny-Cours on Monday, it was a 1-2 finish for Red Bull Academy, which saw George Russell top the timesheets ahead of Felix Rosenqvist and Lando Norris, with teammate Norman Nato going up in 4th place in the end. As a result, the top 22 or 22 cars were only separated by 9/10 of a second. Quite close, but with Russell and Rosenqvist only 7 thousandths separating those two indeed. As you can see, we've got a bright sunny day here at the Bahrain International Circuit in Sakhir. We've got a 35-minute qualifying session coming your way. And I've also fixed some livery problems with other cars, such as the EMR with the SO logo and the numbers with light base as well. So they should have fixed themselves now then. But anyway, guys, bright and sunny here at Sakhir, and well, let's get into this then, shall we? So without further ado, let's get to the qualifying session for IFMC GP2. And see who's going to get the first bonus point for pole position this season. So we're in the pit lane now then, and we're going to go to the end of the pit lane with, who's it going to be with? It is going to be with, that is Yuri Vip. So we will wait and get this session underway. A 35-minute session here at Sakhir. And of course, all the teams preparing to get underway here at Sakhir, and to pretty much see if they can try and impress some of the top class teams. And out of the pit lane then we goes Dan Ticktum, and as IF rumours and news pointed out they have also mentioned that that the people who will be possibly updating IFMC GP2 during the season will be, of course, Red Bull Academy, as I've been told that the person running the account is usually quite busy on the Fridays to update this, but so that's that really. But Dan Ticktum, first man out on track for RSPCA Racing. We also have Luca Giotto out on the track, and they've seemed to have sorted out their little SO issue. Yuri Vips out on track, as is Nobuharu Matsushita. Mitch Evans out on track, as is Sean Galayo for Holy Trinity Racing. Lance Stroll out there as well. Sergei Sirotkin also out there as well. Both cars from the defending champions are out. The man that topped the session at Magny-Cours, that being George Russell, is out on track, obviously with censored stickers, because of course Bahrain bans alcohol around here, and that will be the same effect for the top class guys as well. Mick Schumacher out there as well, as is Sacha Fenestras, Lucas Jura and Louis Razia. Those guys out on track for the moment. Ticktum then only just coming around the hairpin at the moment. We know how long this track is, because it is the endurance layout of Sakhir, because it's the only one that appears to work on my computer at least. Anyway, so Vips now then going through the left-hander as he goes down the support pit straight now then. As he will now come up towards the left-hander, and of course this track is anonymous for preserving fuel as well, and it's usually been the case in the last 2 seasons as well, especially GP2, and especially the first time GP2 went here back in season 2. 2 drivers ran out of fuel on the last lap, one of them being Oliver Rowland, who was meant to win the race, and then that of course didn't happen, and Jordan King, I believe, went on to win that as a result, but of course King no longer in GP2 as a result, pretty much sitting from the sidelines after Morin Jones Racing Jr., the team that won both championships in season 1, pulled out at the end of season 3, and also from the top class as well, which is why Mars Grand Prix are now in that series. But Ticktum now then has started his lap as he heads down towards turn 1 on the track. Also, the guys behind him have started a lap, one of them being Giotto, and his teammate as well being Yuri Vips. Matsushita as well, as you can just see in the background there, as now Ticktum now then heads up towards turn number 4 on the track now then, as he will then prepare to get onto the endurance layout of the course, as he now flicks the car through the left-hander now then. Around the right-hander then goes Dan Ticktum, as he will now approach the chicane. The sequence of corners now then, very slow corners indeed, as Ticktum now then just going around the corner. And as you would have noticed with the TV graphic as well, well, my graphic that I put up for these races, we've got a different hashtag now for each of these support series, because usually they used to share the same hashtag for the top class, but they're now getting their own one. So this one has hashtag IFMC GP2 BHR, and of course the top class still getting IFMC Bar GP, BHR GP. And when GP3 arrives, they'll have IFMC GP3, whatever the country, whatever the Grand Prix name is, the 3-letter prefix for the Grand Prix. As now they go in towards the left-hander now then, and Tictum now down the support pitch straight. As I mentioned, a long lap. Usually the GP2 guys usually do around about a 2-minute lap around this track, so don't be surprised if that's the same thing this season as well. Well, in fact, it looks to be the same thing anyway. I mean, there's been no update in terms of the power of these cars. I mean, these cars are the same of what we've had since season 1. The only thing that's different for them this season is, of course, it's the first time GP2 will be running the Bridgestone tyres. For the first 3 seasons, they were using Goodyears, but now they're using Bridgestones for the season after Goodyear pulled out at the end of season 3. And obviously, the end of season, sorry, not the end of season test, the pre-season test has pretty much been used to try and get used to these Bridgestone tyres, and so far it's fared out quite well for these guys. As now coming out of the final corner, then goes Dan Tictum, and he's going to be the one setting the benchmark of time for everybody to beat as he heads down the pitch straight. And let's see what the time's going to be. Across the line goes Dan Tictum, and it's a 2-minute 8.292, but Giotto beats that. Giotto goes to the top. Vips now then goes into second, getting in front of Tictum. Nobuharu Mashishita goes to fourth with that lap, and it's P1 there for Mitch Evans. So Evans gets to the top of the timing sheets. Here comes Sean Galal, the returning Sean Galal. First time we're seeing him for the first time since season 1, when he was part of EMR, when it was known as Alitalia Junior Team. But Galayo crosses the line and surprisingly goes fastest with that lap. So Galayo goes to the top. Third place for Lance Stroll. Here comes Sergei Sorokin. He goes fastest, so Sorokin goes to the top. He and Sainz were pretty good round here last season, and Sorokin hoping to continue that if he can. As Russell now goes to the top of the timing sheet, so Russell goes to the top. Lando Norris slots to fourth with that lap. As we now look at Mick Schumacher in the academy, and he goes to second with that lap, so it's P2 for Mick Schumacher, P5 for Sacha Fenestras, so close to pole there for Schumacher, I think that was. As here comes Lucas Joa then in the Vortex car, and he goes to only P11 with that lap. Louis Razier slots to 8th. And they are that so far. So at the moment, it is coming Russell at the top, with Schumacher in second place, showing some different pace to what he did at Magny-Cours. Remember, of course, this track is a completely different track to what it is at Magny-Cours. We've seen this several times in the past when we've gone to Magny-Cours as a pre-season testing venue. The results at pre-season testing at Magny-Cours don't usually reflect the results during the season. And, of course, Bahrain being a different track to Magny-Cours, it's definitely proving that this weekend at the moment. Although Russell at the top of the timing sheets, it looks like Schumacher wants to get himself into the mix if he can, because he was pretty much in the cusp of the top 10 over at Magny-Cours. But seemingly this track seems to suit the young German, who's definitely getting a second chance, it must be said, after, well, let's get it this way, after what had been quite pretty much a very torrid season 3 for him in the top class. Pretty much a lot of people saying he came into the series a little bit too early for his age, and I think it was pretty much proven right, really. He was just outpaced by Antonio Fuoco and Pascal Wehrlein, his two teammates. He had one good moment that came at the Pacific Grand Prix at Motegi, but that was, of course, when he finished in 4th, and that was, of course, only due to luck as a result. But this second chance that Academy has given him, thanks to AMP loaning him out to this team, and Academy hoping they can get him up to speed as quick as possible and get him back to the top class as a faster and better driver in the future in IFMC. And so far he seems to be impressing so far in this qualifying session, as he'll be returning to the pits this lap, because we know how Grand Prix X-Patch usually works around this track. As Pierre Gasly is waiting in the pit lane, his teammate, and he's looking to see if he can get up close to his teammate Mick Schumacher, who's currently in second place at the present moment in qualifying. And so that's that really. Only 1/10. Michael is... Sorry, Michael? I mean, yeah, his full name's Michael, but it's Mick. Is 1/10 behind, or I think he's actually just under a 10th, in fact. No, he's actually a 10th. I thought he was just under for a minute there, but he is just a 10th. But still quite close between the top two at this stage. As Mick's teammate, who we were just talking about a little bit earlier on, Pierre Gasly, is out on track. He had a torrid season 3, it must be said. A lot of people tipped him to win the championship in season 3, and it didn't happen, of course. He just did not have any luck since joining Academy. And but he's hoping now that after a season with the team, he's hoping that this season he can finally he can get back to challenging for the championship if he can, and finally give Academy that redemption they've been looking for in season 1. Remember, of course, when they had the championship in the grass, and it obviously got took away from them because of a calculation error. And I think team boss Oliver Glazebrook recalls that very, very, very well. And so that's that really, and they're still looking for that bit of redemption. And of course, a different livery to what we've been used to for Academy. Of course, previous times we've seen them running purple on their car with a little bit of yellow. This time they seem to have got the colours to seem to reflect their top class team, black, red, and a little bit of white as well. But obviously giving it a little bit of a different pattern to what the top class car has. And so far, the team in the top class has not had the start they would have hoped for, really. They should have won in Brazil last time out at the Brazilian Grand Prix after Alonso completely dominated that race. But a technical hitch on his car with 3 laps to go prevented Alonso from tying the lead in the championship with Ocon. And as a result, Ocon's teammate Verstappen ended up winning the race, and he ended up tying with Ocon for the lead in the Drivers' Championship. So far, Martini having the best start to the championship they could have hoped for in IFMC. And but Gasly now then preparing to start his lap. Also on track we have Jolyon Palmer in the Willows Grand Prix car, and I did mention this a little earlier in Manicure, but Martini seemed to forget that Willows Grand Prix were in the series from season 1. They thought that they were only in GP3, but they are in GP2. I'm guessing it possibly is due to the colour scheme that Willows Grand Prix have gone for this season. They've gone a little bit similar to what the GP3 team has ran in the past, but now they seem to have transferred it here with a little bit of a change to delivery. Joel Eriksson out on track for Lopez Racing Development, as is Nick de Vries. Santiago Irisha out on track, as is Lance Stroll, Mitch Evans, Norman Nato, Felix Rosenquist, the Season 3 IFMC GP3 champion. Alex Lynn out on track as well, as is George Russell. He's back out, the man currently at the top. Yuri Vips back out, as is Dan Ticktum and Lando Norris. As Gasly's now currently on the lap as he goes into the endurance section of the course now then, as he enters in towards the left and right-hander. And I wouldn't even be surprised if pretty soon Etihad will try and find a top class drive for Pierre, maybe for next season. I wouldn't be surprised if that's the case. And then, of course, their priority is to get these two trained up, of course. But you have to think that after 4 seasons, this is Pierre's 4th season in the top class. You have to think that maybe Etihad are trying to get him a top class seat in the future to really show off his credentials. I mean, he did have 1 race last season in the top class for Shadow BMW, as it was known, when Leclerc did his one-off race at Etihad Racing, because Alonso was focusing on his final season in Season 4 at Suzuka. And that obviously didn't go according to pot for Pierre. He actually ended up rolling the car and crashing with Mick Schumacher as a result. And it was a big crash. But thankfully, he and Mick were okay from that accident. But that's not the experience Pierre wanted from the top class as a result. And, he's obviously put that one to bed so far. Entering this season, it must be said, as Pierre now goes flat out through the right-hander, and a little bit of a technical hitch there with RE Central. I do apologise. It's been a while since something like that has happened with my capture device. As now Pierre now then going up towards the final corner on the track as he's about to complete his flying lap. And I wouldn't be surprised with GP2 that all of them won't be able to do all 4 of their flying laps, of course. I mean, they've got 12 laps in total, and 4 of them are usually flying laps because that's how the game works, not X-Patch, I do apologise. Gasly now then heads down the pit straight, and Pierre is going to cross the line and goes fastest. Gasly now goes to the top of the timing sheets. Gasly goes fastest in the Academy, and that might put a smile on Oliver Glazebrook's face, that's for sure. Jolyon Palmer, across the line he goes in the Willows car. He goes to 7th with that lap. Here comes Joel Eriksson now then, who heads down the pit straight, and Eriksson is going to cross the line, and let's see what he can do. He goes 8th with that lap, so P8 for Joel Eriksson, a little bit better than what Manicure was for him. As here comes Nick de Vries in the GRM Junior. De Vries crosses the line, goes 4th with that lap. Here comes Santiago Irisha, who just comes out of the final corner as he heads down the pit straight, and Irisha now then is going to cross the line, and let's see what the Uruguay driver is going to do. And he goes only 15th with that lap. Lance Stroll goes to 9th. Mitch Evans stays 12th with that lap. 18th for Norman Nato. Felix Rosenquist only 13th with that lap, as it's only last for Alex Lynn there. So here comes George Russell, currently 2nd, seeing if he can try and grab back that pole position off Pierre Gasly as Russell now heads down the pit straight. George Russell now then in the Red Bull Academy car. He's now going to cross the lines. It's going to be an improvement for George Russell. Across the line he goes, and it isn't. He stays second with that lap, so only P2 at the moment for Russell. As here comes Yuri Vips in the RSPCA racing car. And let's see what he is able to do. Vips crosses the line, and it isn't improving. He goes up to 13th for that lap, not able to get into the top 10 at the moment. Can the Estonian, Dan Tictum, goes up to 16th, so a slight improvement for him. Here comes Lando Norris, who's currently down in 11th place at the moment in the light-based Sony racing car. But let's see what Norris is able to do on this lap then. Lando Norris is going to cross the lines. It's going to be an improvement for him, and it is. He goes up to 3rd with that lap, so up to P3 goes Lando Norris in the light-based Sony racing car. But at the moment, it is currently Pierre Gasly at the top of the timing sheets with George Russell second and Lando Norris running at the top 3 at the moment. So Gasly currently tops at the moment, and his teammate, I think a little bit further down in around about 6th, 7th or 8th. So far, Academy doing quite a good job at the moment in qualifying with both of their drivers. Pierre going back into the pits. We'll have a look at what the top 5 looks like just briefly when his little monitor comes up as soon as he pulls into his box. There is his mechanics waiting for him, and there he goes then pulling into his box. And let's see then what it looks like, as we have only 20 minutes left in the session, so very quick. It's Gasly from Russell, Norris, Schumacher and De Vries, so both Academy cars currently in the top 4 at this stage. So Oliver Glacebrook must be very happy without that at the moment, with both of his drivers in the top 4. It definitely shows that Magny-Cours is definitely a different track compared to Sakhir, and even Red Bull Academy even pointed that out when they reported on the pre-season test for Magny-Cours in GP2. Must say, cheers to Robert Hunter for doing that as well, because you know, I think it's great that we have some accounts out there that are willing to update us when I would do on the other account, because I'm commentating on this. I can't really, I don't have another monitor to update what's going on, and plus, you know, my internet, it's not the best. So it's pretty much trying to preserve the internet as well by using less devices, really. But that's pretty much that then, really. So I do appreciate Oliver and Robert's help in updating what's going on in both GP2 and the top class. Just got to look for somebody now to do it for GP3 at the moment. So I do appreciate both of them for doing that work. So if you happen to come across them on Twitter or YouTube, then give them a thank you if you can, and follow them. Just let them know that I sent you over there to their accounts. But yeah, like I said, appreciate your help, guys. As now Lando Norris is coming into the pits for light-based Sony Racing, and he's currently in 3rd place after it appeared that he got held up in a little bit of traffic. But the thing is, with Sakhir, because it's only a 35-minute session, you have to question that because of how fast these cars go, because it's probably about a 2-minute lap, you have to question how many laps they're going to get into the car during this qualifying session. And Lando's teammate Norman Nato down in 20th, so he must have got caught up in the traffic. I think that's going to be quite an issue with Sakhir at the moment, in fact with any track we go to. But we do have some track activity in the form of Sean Galayo, who's gone out on track first of all. Galayo currently 7th at the moment. Galayo surprising everybody at the moment, but how much is that down to the traffic holding people up? That is what I would question, as my tongue sort of slipped there when I was trying to get that bit of speech out. As Galayo now then heads down the back straight towards the left-hander behind him. I think that looks to be trying to think who that is in the background. That is Sakhir Fenestraz. Like I said, I'm probably going to get EMR and LRD mixed up in a way during this this season, mainly because from the distance they look the same in terms of the colour scheme they run, but from close up they look different anyway. But anyway, Galal then preparing to start a lap. Also on track with the Indonesian, we have Sakhir Fenestraz, who shares an apartment, in fact, with Lando Norris. So both of them know each other quite well. Nobuharu Matsushita out on track, as is Jolyon Palmer. Luca Giotto out on track, as is Joel Eriksson. Sergei Sorokin, the man currently at the top, Pierre Gasly, he's back out on track. Santiago Urrutia, Felix Rosenquist, Louis Razia, Nick De Vries, Alex Lynn, and Norman Nato all out on track. And luckily for Fenestraz, he's not going to get held up by Nato there as he starts his flying lap. And Galayo managed to get out just before Nato did there. And yeah, I would imagine that most of these guys are out on track now just to get an improvement in, because I would presume that a lot of them got held up in traffic on their first runs. So we'll have to wait and see on that as Galayo goes through the left-hander. Surprisingly, he's currently in 7th place in the Holy Trinity racing car, considering his tenure in real life in GP2, and of course in IFMC GP2 when he was part of the Ali Salia junior team. So far, he seems to be finding his pacing. He seems to have picked up some pace so far, but it is only the first weekend. That could all change. Every track is different to the other in terms of how the track is laid out and the dimensions of each track and how much camber and all that lot is on the track, and pretty much the characters of all these tracks as well. So it could play out differently for all these drivers hoping to get themselves into the top class in the future. As now Galio goes through the double left-hander now then on the track, as he will be preparing, as he's currently on a flying lap, I should say. Alex Lynn there in the Makara Motorsport car, currently in front at the moment. And for anybody wondering in terms of the Monster Grand Prix situation at the moment, I have had your applicants. There were 6 applicants in total, and I can update you right now that I've actually narrowed it down to 2. By the way, guys, 2 team bosses to go with the... sorry, what was I saying? 2 team bosses to take the role of Monster Grand Prix. I'm not going to name them to you, but I've narrowed it down to those 2 people, mainly because, you know, they kind of match the qualities that I'm looking for a team boss in the top class, because it does require a lot more than what it usually does for GP2 and GP3. But anyway, Sean Galal now then goes down the pit straight, and across the line goes the Indonesians. It's going to be an improvement. It is, but he stays in 7th place. He's on a 2 minute 7.606. Nato starting his lap. Here comes Sakhir Fenestrad. He crosses the line and stays in 8th place. He also improves on his best time at this stage. Here comes Nobuharu Mashita, a little bit further back than those 2 at the moment. He's now the next man closest to doing a lap, as Mashita now then goes through the right-hander. Currently Mashita 21st at this stage, and looking to try and improve if he can as he heads down the hill towards the final corner on the track. And so now round the final corner and onto the pit straight. And let's see then what Mashishita is going to do then. And Nobuharu is going to cross lines. It's going to be an improvement for him. It is. He goes up to 12th for that lap, so up to P12 he goes. Still 8th for Jolyon Palmer. Here comes Luca Giotto, currently down in 18th at the moment. Let's see what the Italian can do. Giotto crosses the line and goes up to 5th for that lap, so up to P5 goes Giotto. Here comes Joel Eriksson in the Lopez Racing Development car. Eriksson is going to cross the lines. It's going to be an improvement for him. No, it's not. He stays 12th for that lap, as it's still 7th for Sergei Sorokin. Pierre Gasly doesn't improve, says on 2 minute 7.221. Here comes Santiago Urishia. He crosses the line, goes up to 10th for that lap, so Urishia into the top 10. Up to 10th goes Rosenquist. That's all he can manage that time around. So up to the top 10 goes Felix Rosenquist. As here comes, this is Louis Razia in the Willows Grand Prix car. Razia approaching the final corner on the track. And let's see what Razia is able to do then on this lap. Razia is going to cross the line, and let's see if he's going to be on for the improvement. The Brazilian now then crosses the line, and he does not improve, stays 18th for the moment. Still struggling, it seems, in that Willows Grand Prix car. Nick de Vries is currently 6th. Across the line goes the young Dutchman, and he goes up to 5th, so a slight improvement for de Vries. Here comes Alex Lynn. This is going to be an improvement for him. It is. He goes up to 6th for that lap, so up to P6 goes Alex Lynn as Galal goes back into the pits. Norman Nato, can he get up to teammate Norris, who's currently up in 3rd? Nato is going to cross the line in the Light Race Sony Racing car, and he does not. He stays 22nd at the moment. Again, looked like he got held up on his lap by Sean Galio, so that's not good for Nato as far as he's concerned at the present moment. But at the moment, it is still Gasly at the top of the timing sheets with Russell 2nd, and I believe it is who's in 3rd at the moment. I believe it is Norris in the top 3 with Schumacher in 4th, and then I believe it is well, we'll have a look in a little bit, but it seems that a few changes have happened. Some improvements are coming their way now that drivers are finding some clear air in the traffic. But it is currently this man, Pierre Gasly, who is currently at the top of the timing sheets at the moment. And so that's that really, as Gasly now goes up towards the second to last corner. I predicted as well with Gasly that he'd probably have a Mitch Evans season from season number 2, where he didn't do particularly well and then did better the following season. And so far, Gasly is seemingly doing that this season, it must be said. And but we've still got a long way to go in this qualifying session. We've still got 12 minutes left, just over 12 minutes left in the session. We are 5 minutes away from the 6:30 mark. Of course, in just over half an hour's time, we will be having the press conference of the Bahrain Grand Prix. Again, apologies for not having one last weekend. That was due to internet problems I had in my house again, but they managed to get resolved later on in the night. That was that really, but there was not enough time to do the press conference. It's Gasly, Russell, Norris, Schumacher and De Vries. The top 5 remain the same, but it's below them where everything has started to shake about a little bit at the moment. As Lance Stroll, who's currently 14th at the moment, is now out on track for GOM Junior. And GOM opting to use a colour scheme similar to what they use on their top class car, but just have a shake around with the patterns and where the colours are positioned on the car. But Stroll now then on track, and he will now go up towards the left-hander. Through he goes then around the chicane, and out the corner he goes, using as little curb as possible on the outside as he'll go through the right-hander. And that's kind of a thing with that right-hander we just saw a little earlier on. They use a lot of curb into there, and I guess that's possibly the best line they can take around this track, of course. As Stroll now then goes through the left-hander, he will now go up towards the hairpin, and out the corner he goes, using a lot of curb on the left-hand side there, as he will now go up towards the double left-hander on the track, and out the corner he goes, using a lot of curb as he heads down the back straight towards the left-hander, and he will be preparing to start his lap quite soon now then. And anybody else on track with him? Yes, Lucas Jura in the Vortex Racing car is out on track, as is Lando Norris in the light by Sony race car, hoping to see if he can try and pop Gasly off the top. As Mitch Evans also out there, Sacha Fenestraz, Dan Ticktum, Mick Schumacher, Yuri Vips, George Russell, currently second at the moment, out on track, as is Santiago Urishia. Sean Galal's going out, as is Sergei Sorokin, Luca Giotto, Nobuharu Matsushita. Those guys expected to go out on track quite soon now then. But as Stroll goes down the pit straight, he's preparing to start his next flying lap, as we have now just under 10 minutes remaining now then in this session to determine the grid for tomorrow's feature race here at Sakhir, which lasts around about 32 laps, I would think, around here, and including a mandatory pit stop as well. And so that's that then really, as we now go up towards the right-hander now then on the track, and Stroll will be preparing to start. Well, he's on his lap at the moment, looking to see if he can try and get a better than what 14th is, try and see if he can pop his GOM Junior into the top 10, as he will now approach the left-hander through the left, then the right, as he now flicks the car in throughout the double right-hander now then, using little curb as possible through the right-hander. Stroll will go, as he now flicks the car in down the hill to get himself back onto the Grand Prix circuit now then, and coming out of the that part of the course now then. Sector 2, I think, is quite a long way away. There's a big, there's kind of a big stretch, pretty much a long run between Sector 1 and Sector 2 around this track. Sector 2, I think, is just, at the exit of the left-hander they're coming at the first corner of this support pit straight, I think. And now Stroll comes down the support pit straight, heading up towards the left-hander. So up towards the left-hander then goes Lance Stroll. Out of the corner he will go now then, as he will now go flat out towards the right-hander, and using a lot of curb on the outside in towards the second to last corner. I think there's even quite debates, in fact, about whether this straight here will be actually a DRS straight for this season's Formula 1 season, because they have obviously introduced a third DRS straight, and obviously that didn't work out well, but I think they should try and continue it here for Sakhir to see if it works, because Sakhir is usually known as an overtaking track anyway, so maybe it could create some more overtaking opportunities at Sakhir whilst they suss out what they're going to do to possibly replace the DRS in the future. Stroll crosses the line and goes up to 10th, so he does get up into the top 10 as he was hoping for there. So Stroll up to P10 in the GOM Junior, as here comes Nobuharu Matsushita in the Holy Trinity racing car, as he starts his lap, in fact, as is Giotto. Lucas Jura now then, about to cross the line, and let's see what the Austrian can manage. He's currently 21st and stays 21st. He's well off the pace. He must have made a mistake somewhere on his lap. Here comes Lando Norris, who just comes out of the final corner. Heading down the pit straight goes the young Brit. A lot of people tipping him in real life to win the Formula 2 championship. Lando Norris now then is going to cross the line, and let's see what Lando can do. Can he improve? He does. He goes fastest, and Norris now goes to the top of the timing sheets. He beats Gasly off the top. Norris now fastest in the light-based Sony racing car. Here comes Mitch Evans in the Vortex racing car. Is this going to be an improvement from 17th place? Evans crosses the line, and can he improve? Yes, he can. He goes up to 5th with that lap, so Evans up to P5. Here comes Sakhir Fenestraz in the Lopez Racing Development car, and Fenestraz does not improve, stays in 12th. Dan Ticktum crosses the line, and he improves to go up to 15th for that lap, so up to P15 goes the young Brit. Mick Schumacher in the Academy car. Across the line goes the teenage German. Can he improve? No, he can't. He stays in 4th place for the moment. Yuri Vips stays 19th. No improvement. George Russell crosses the line. What can the young Brit do? Across the line he goes, and he stays 3rd. No improvement for Russell. Can't get the Red Bull Academy car to get onto the front row at the moment. Santiago Urishia now then, heading down the pit straight. And let's see what the Uruguay driver can do. Urishia now then is going to cross the line, and he stays 14th for that lap. No improvement. Sean Galayo now then, out of the final corner he goes, currently in the cusp of the top 10. Galayo is going to cross the line, and Sean Galayo, let's see what the Indonesian driver can do, and he does not improve, stays 10th. Sergei Sirotkin stays 9th. No improvement for the young Russian, as Stroll goes back into the pits. Nobara Mashita going up on his personal best by 1/10 of a second at the exit of sector 2. So I think it's after that right-hander, not the one that he just came out of the previous right-hander. That flat-out right-hander is where the end of sector 2 is. Told you it was quite a long run between sector 1 and sector 2, because the end of sector 1 is on the endurance layout of the course. As here comes Nobuharu Masashita. Across the line goes the controversial Japanese driver, and he does not improve and stays in 18th place, as Giotto stays 8th for the moment. So both EMRs in the top 10 at this stage, but at the moment it is currently Lando Norris now at the top of the timing sheets, ahead of Pierre Gasly and George Russell, with Mick Schumacher in 4th. And so far then, Norris getting up to the top, and Gasly will be looking to try and beat that if he can, with just under 5 minutes remaining in the session, and Gasly waiting in the pits, and look how close it is between the top 2, in fact, or even the top 3. In fact, the gap between Norris and Gasly is only 7 thousandths of a second between them, so very, very close indeed, and only 200 separating Norris and Russell there. And a 10th between Norris and Schumacher, and even a 10th between Norris and Evans, who improved on his previous flying lap, as Evans looks to try and get redemption and see if he can finally win the IFMC GP2 title after missing out in Season 3 and Season 1 now. As Gasly now then goes out on track, now currently in 2nd, to see if he could try and get back the pole off Lando Norris if he can, as he goes through the first corner now then on the track, through turn 2, and around turn 3 he will go. As Gasly now then goes up towards the right-hander now then. He will now go in towards, so through the right-hander then goes Gasly. Now flicking the car through the left as he gets into the endurance layout of the course. And Gasly, under 5 minutes remaining, will be able to get another flying lap in. Joel Eriksson goes out on track at the moment, as does Jolyon Palmer as well. His teammate Razzie will be out there. Lynn, his former teammate, De Vries, Rosenquist, that is Lance Stroll, who'll be expected to come out, Nato, Yura, and those guys expected to come out on track, as there's still 2 more who have just done a lap who are yet to come back into the pit, so we could see possibly 2 more cars spawn into the pits in the pit lane, as Gasly now then out of the hairpin he goes, just preparing to see if he can get a perfect flying lap in, to see if he could try and get that pole position back off Lando Norris. Only 7 thousandths separating him and the young Brit, as Gasly now then heading down the straight. In a way, the Martini versus Etihad affair seems to have carried over here into GP2. Of course, Gasly driving for Etihad's GP2 team Academy, and of course at the same time Lando Norris is part of Martini's testing program and has been loaned out to light-based Sony Racing to compete in GP2 for this season. So that's that then really, and so in a way it's Martini versus Etihad again going into GP2 as well. So in towards the final corner then goes Gasly as he prepares to start his next flying lap now then. As he heads down the straight, he'll be up in that car. You can just see there on the right-hand side, does not hold him up at the exit, because that will definitely wreck Gasly's lap. As a result, as Gasly now then starts his next flying lap now then, heading down towards turn 1. And that's his own teammate as well. And his teammate has compromised his lap a little bit there. And, well, I bet there'll be an inter-team rivalry there between Pierre and Mick there. I don't think Oliver Glazebrook will be pretty happy about that one, with their own drivers holding each other up, as we said. And even Schumacher doesn't seem to care whether his teammates are on a lap. And he's definitely now ruined any chance of Pierre trying to get the first pole position of the season there. And, well, Mick clearly trying to focus on whether he can try and get pole position himself, with him only being a 10th off pole and currently in 4th place at the moment. Schumacher going through the right hander he goes then, and Gasly will not be very happy about that one, as he now goes through the right hander using a lot of curb there on the right hand side. He'll now head down the hill, and again, I don't think team boss Oliver Glazebrook will be pretty happy about this one, with Mick holding up Gasly, who was looking to try and see if he can get the pole off Norris there, but now that's definitely gone down the toilet, considering how many minutes they've got left in the session. They have just over just over 1 minute now remaining in the session. I think Schumacher will just be able to go across the line to do one more flying lap. I think he will just have enough time to get around the track to do that. That's probably why he overtook Gasly, because he didn't want to run out of time and get held up by Pierre. As now we head down towards the first corner of this support pit straight. Gasly now then flicking the car through the left-hander now then. Schumacher's starting to get away a little bit from Gasly. Gasly probably realising his lap's been ruined anyway, so decides to give his teammate a little bit of a buffer as a result, even though he probably is a little bit miffed about what he's just done there. 2 seconds down in the second sector, so yep, his lap's definitely been ruined by Mick as a result. 30 seconds now remaining in the session as Gasly now approaches the final corner on the track. We ride in the cockpit of Pierre, and so that's that then really. Gasly now then, let's see what lap time is going to be anyways. He got held up. And Gasly crosses the line, 10 seconds remaining, 2 minute 9.46. So 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Checkered flag is out, and that is the end of this qualifying session. These final flying laps need to be completed. We now look at Joel Eriksson in the Lopez Racing development car. He heads down the pit straight. There's the checkered flag man. As behind him, one of the Vortex cars as well. Eriksson crosses the line and stays in 17th. Does not improve. Evans just getting a mileage run. It appears it's going to be P5 for him there. Palmer, 14th for him. Improves on his best time there. Both of those Grand Prix cars outside the top 10, it appears. Vips just doing a mileage run as he'll be starting in 19th. As here comes Felix Rosenqvist, he's looking to try and see if he can improve on 13th place. It looked like he may have got held up in traffic, but can he get himself up a few places on this final flying lap now then? Rosenqvist, out of the final corner he goes. Rosenqvist now then heading down the pit straight, and the Swedish driver is going to cross the line. What's the lap time going to be then for Rosenqvist? Across the line he goes. This is going to be quickest, and it is! Rosenqvist goes to the top of the timing sheets. He found a lot of time there. Rosenqvist goes fastest. Razia improves to 17th place. Here comes Lance Stroll heading down the pitch straight. Let's see what Stroll can end up doing. He goes across the line and goes up to 10th, so up to the top 10 goes Stroll. Nato across the line, goes up only to 16th there. Only 8th for Alex Lynn. Nick de Vries in the GRM Junior now then. The young Dutchman is now going to cross the line. De Vries, what can he do on this lap? And he does not improve. Stays in 7th place with that lap. Daniel Ticktum now then heading up towards the final corner. Then he goes as he heads down the pit straight. Ticktum now then is going to cross the line, and let's see if Ticktum is able to improve. And Ticktum crosses the line and he stays 17th for that lap. Lucas Jura now then across the line, he will go. The Austrian, can he improve? No, he can't. Stays in last place, 22nd. Mick Schumacher now then in the academy cars. This is going to be an improvement for the teenage German. Schumacher crosses the line, and no, he can't. Stays in 5th place, and after all of that, it is Felix Rosenqvist, the Season 3 IFMC GP3 champion, who is fastest as a result. Found a lot of time in that lap and finds himself 2 tenths clear of Norris as a result. A very impressive lap from Rosenqvist. Finally managed to find a break in the traffic and Lions Dakar on pole position. So there you have it then, guys. After all of that, here is the grid for tomorrow's race here at Sakhir. It's Rosenquist on pole position with Norris in second, Gasly third, Russell fourth, Schumacher fifth, Evans sixth, De Vries seventh, Lynn in eighth, Giotto ninth, Stroll in 10th, Sergei Sorokin 11th, with Glyle 12th, Fenestras 13th, Palmer in 14th position. And if we scroll down the rest of the field, it's Yuishi at 15th, Nato in 16th, Tictum 17th, Razzie at 18th, Ericsson 19th, Masashita 20th, Vips 21st, and Yura in 22nd position. So there you have it then, guys. That has been the qualifying session for IFMC GP2. A very exciting session and looks in store to be quite a good race as well. But that is it then, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Stick around, because in 20 minutes time, or roughly around about 20 minutes time, we will have the press conference for the top class. So if you've got any questions for these guys, then please stick them in the Twitch chat. But until then, guys, that has been it. I hope you enjoyed it. So thank you very much for watching. I've been JWF1, and I'll see you guys in just a little bit for the top class press conference. See you in just a little minute.